Hello and welcome to the Singularity Reactor, where we face off against the legendary king Thordan, manifested as a Primal. It's a fairly basic story fight that has several abilities associated with the various enemies on screen you'll face. If you've played Final Fantasy VII before, then this will be pretty awesome for you, as it is essentially the Knights of the Round. So, the fight itself is jam-packed with AoEs for you to avoid, which should come as no real surprise or threat to you by now, and adds will spawn throughout the fight which are your priority. This fight then has 3 stages, the first 2 of which are laden with unique mechanics. First of all, the boss will choose 4 players at random from your group and place lightning circles above their heads. These people need to spread away from the others, ideally on the sides of the room. After a few seconds, these debuffs will explode and do lightning damage to the player and anyone who was near them. At this exact same moment, 4 other players will be given circles beneath their feet. These will spawn ice patches below, and this will actually put a heavy debuff on anyone who enters them. So you need to try to spread out, make sure the 4 lightning are in the corners of the room, and try to make sure that the room is free so that people can still move around to avoid the various AoEs. One of the constant AoE damage abilities the boss will cast during the fight is called Ancient Quagga. This will need to be simply healed through. It's a moderate AoE on your entire party. Another of his ability is the Dragon's Gaze. This will put party-wide terror on anyone who is facing him when the cast is finished, so make sure you look at his cast bar. You'll need to face your character away before this finishes, otherwise you'll lose control of your character, and it's feared around the room, potentially being moved into the dangerous AoEs and the heavy, and it's nasty, so just look away. The ability that everyone will recognise though is Knights of the Round, and this signifies the second phase. This will be the summoning of certain knights from Thordan's Heavensward. These ad spawns are untargetable and perform various additional AoEs to avoid, charges that inflict bleeds, exploding orbs that you might be familiar with from the vault that you'll need to avoid that do splash damage, AoE columns and lines that need to be stepped out of. All is pretty simple until one of the knights, known as Sir Hermanost, will appear next to the boss and cast a room-wide paralyze. This can be completely avoided by having a party member on each of these 4 little platforms that the little mini-boss spawns. However, the paralysis isn't a game breaker and can be recovered from. It's just annoying and pretty easy to avoid. If there isn't anyone, go stand on it yourself. The rest of the fight until 15% health on Thordan is pretty much exactly the same. At this point of health, however, phase 2 starts and Thordan will remove himself from a room completely and the knights will take their turn in the fray instead. First up then is Sir Zephyrin. This guy will spawn in the middle of the room and start casting a nasty AoE. This unfortunately is unavoidable, but you can reduce the amount of damage it does by removing more health from a knight before it is cast. The less HP he has when it's cast, the less damage it will ultimately do. Before Zephyrin is finished, Sir Veloguin appears at the edge of the room and begins casting line AoEs for you to avoid. This knight is untargetable again, so just avoid the AoEs. Next up will be Sir Janijal and Sir Andelfell. These guys focus on AoEs to everyone that need to be healed through, whilst one also does massive tank damage that also needs to be spot healed through. Sir Ignace is next up after the other 2 have gone and smashes one of the sides of the arena. The closer you are to the reticle at the side where he did damage, the more damage it will do to you, so simply run away to the other side. As the other 2 knights appear, ice AoEs will be back on the 4 players. These need to again be placed in the corners of the room now as to not give extra AoE damage to your entire party. More AoE circles to avoid follow shortly afterwards, and then Sir Grino comes into the fray from the vault. 4 black circles will spawn in a room, and these will grow to fill the arena, leaving only small sections of the room to stand in that are safe, and they'll explode doing a lot of damage. So make sure you're not hit by these and just stand in whatever little safe space you can stand in. After Grino, we have Cirno Donette. This guy is untargetable again and puts 4 meteors in the sides of a room. You need to destroy these before they touch the floor to avoid big AoE damage to your party. At the same time, however, Sir Garake will appear and put rocks that you need to move behind to avoid damage, as he does his AoE, moving to a new rock until this phase is over. Finally, after all the knights have gone and they've all done their attacks, they will go outside of a fight and join up with Thordan himself. where they'll all joint cast an ability called Light of Ascalon. You need to have everyone topped up here in health, as this is Thordan's ultimate, doing moderate AoE damage to all players, which could obviously kill if they're low. After this, however, phase 3 begins and Thordan becomes attackable again back in the centre of the room. This time, however, he has literally no power left, having spent it on the ultimate, and is untankable with random targeting, so don't even bother trying to use flash. He hits for nothing at this stage, so you'll have a guaranteed kill pretty much, so congratulations! I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you kill Thordan as soon as possible and move on to other really cool content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.